Hi everyone and welcome to Darlene's Creative Studio. Today I'm going to be showing you some journals that I've made using old calendars. My mother gave me a large stack of very old calendars that she'd been saving because she really liked the pictures in them. They're old and used, they have writing on them. She had them stuffed in a closet and she asked me if I could do anything with them. So about 8 months ago, I made a whole stack of different books using these calendars. They're quite sturdy. They're a little bit shiny, and they have a little bit of a texture to them. And they're quite a sturdy cardstock. So I had quite a stack of them, and I had a lot of books that I had been tearing apart and making things out of. So I'm just going to flip through a couple of them and show you some of the ideas that I've used these calendars for, and just gluing them right onto the front covers of the books. I wanted to make this video I've been going on Junk Journals Canada and Junk Journal Junkies, and some of the people have come across some really old beautiful books and they didn't know what to do, whether they should rip the pages out and how they were going to use the books and save them. Some of these ideas you can actually take the insides out so the outside will remain the same, so that they could really use those old books over and over again, their favorites. So this was just a little, I think it was a poem series. This is number 7, so there was a couple of them. I think I made 4 and I gave them out as gifts to my sisters. And I've just used my cotton tea-dyed material as the tie. And I've put an eyelet in the front and an eyelet in the back, and I've just attached the tie to the back eyelet. And again, all I've done is taken the book and cut a piece of the calendar front and glued it onto the front. And then for this particular one, I left the insides as they were, and I've used a piece of the canvas material, the muslin that you use for canvases for painting on. And I made my own little inserts, and I've sewed them onto the canvas and then attached and just glued it in. So these are actually in the book, sewn into the book. So I've made about 4 of these, and I gave them as gifts for Christmas. I also made about 5 different, about this size. This was a cooking calendar. My mom really liked the teapot, so I saved that one and used a red book and some lace just to cover up the title on the spine. And again, this one, I used Edith Holden pages on the inside for the inside cover, and then the canvas material is what I sewed the papers to. And this book has mixed media paper, so it's a little thicker, and you can write on it with markers. You can do watercolor in it. I believe you can do acrylics as well, but it's the Canson mixed media paper. So this is more of an artist book. So I did a couple like that. And here's another one. This one is a hummingbird calendar. And again, I just cut the main piece and covered the front, and then just did a little piece on the back, and the book was already green, and I just covered the spine with the fabric. And again, an Edith Holden page on the insides and the canvas in the middle, and I've sewed the mixed media paper right into the book. So those were actually sewn in. And then for some of the others, this was a smaller one, I've actually used elastic. So this book, I put a little bit of trim on the spine, used the calendar page, glued it to the outside, and then I have made up these inserts before for my fabric journals, and they just come right out. So I can replace these once I've used the book, and I can continue to use the book over and over again, the outside cover. And the elastic I use is a 2mm elastic. It's a little thicker, but I just find it holds them in quite nicely. So that's one of them. I've also done this one, and I've used sari ribbon for the tie, and again the eyelets front and back. And this was the inside cover already. And again, I've used the 5x8 inserts that I created. I had extra, and this one will fit 4 of them. And to put the elastic on, all I do is punch holes into the spine and insert the elastic. So this one was quite a wide spine, so I actually did 4 eyelets so that I have 4 elastics on the inside to hold 4 different inserts. And then it just closes with the sari ribbon as the closure. And you tie it. So it's pretty simple. They're not that hard to make. I just had so many of these calendars. I didn't want to not use them. This is my own personal one. I use this every day. Again, it's just, I think this was an Edith Holden book. And I covered it with a calendar and one of the little quotes. And then I covered the spine with the lace, and I did the 2 eyelets. And then inside I've just used a composition book that I purchased at the dollar store. And that actually fits. There's 2 elastics in there, but this one book fits in there perfectly. So I may just put a file folder in here to hold some of my receipts and stuff, but I use this for everyday writing. So this is the book that I keep on my desk and use a lot. And then this particular one I made out of it was a little bit wider, and I made this into my sales receipt book. So I have a pad here, and it is on a little strap, a little elastic, and these are rivets that I've put into the back of the book. I've just put a little tiny piece of elastic through 2 eyelets, and that holds my pen. So that's the outside, the 2 little eyelets with the elastic. And then on this side, the same thing. I've just done my sales receipt book. And again, it goes over the elastic with the 2 rivets. And then for the spine, when you cut the pages out, it's a little bit loose. So I just put a piece of cardboard, cardstock or chipboard down, glue that on, and then I glued the fabric right over top to give it a little bit of sturdiness. If when you're cutting the book out, if the paper goes and covers the front page, I try and save that piece of paper, and I will actually glue that over the cardboard so that I have one continuous color of paper. So this inside cover sometimes covers the front page, so when you open up the book, you open up and you'll see the title page of the book. So I try and pull that apart and save that other piece of brown paper that I can actually glue down over top, so I will have a completely brown background. So that's a little sales book that I made for myself from one of the calendars. And then this one was a white book. It was actually a book that a neighbor gave to me, and they'd finished reading it, and I really loved the color of it. So I put a little bit of my tea stain canvas on there, and the 2 eyelets, and one of the calendar pages over top of the book. And then again, it has 2, these are store-bought from a dollar, not a dollar store, but a secondhand store or something. They had a whole bunch of these on sale for $1, and they actually fit. So they're a 5 by 8, so that's a standard size for an insert, and they fit on the 2 elastics inside the book. So that's another one. And then this was the last one I made. Again, the tea stain with the 2 eyelets and the elastic, and the calendar on the outside with the tea stain ribbon and the 2 eyelets. And the ribbon is tied to the back. So this is what I was talking about with the end. The inside of the book had the water, and then the first, it came up and covered over the first pages. So when I opened up the book, it was a colored page, and then the title page was in. So I just tore that off, cut the book out, and saved that piece of paper. And I can actually use it to cover the whole back. So there's a piece of chipboard. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a little piece of chipboard there to give the spine a little sturdiness and to hold the eyelets a little better. And that is just the 2mm white elastic. So then I would just put my 2 inserts in there. So that is what you can do with some of your really old books that have the beautiful covers, and you don't want to sew the inserts in and only use it once. You can actually use it over and over again. So that's just some of the ideas. I was using up these old calendars. Now I do believe the calendars are copyright, so I can actually make these and sell them online because they are copyrighted calendars. But I do make them and give them as gifts. That's what I've been using them for, and for myself. But that's a good way to use up some of your old calendars and stuff, just to cover some old books and make your own journaling books. So I'm going to get started on my Reader's Digest journals. If you have any questions or you'd like to see a tutorial on how to make one of those, please leave some comments below the video, and hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much.